Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and this is my tier list for WrestleMania that just finished like maybe about an hour or two ago. I just wanted to get in here and start it because, man, that was an amazing WrestleMania. I think, as you can see by the ratings, well, just how amazing it was, and we should just go from match to match. I don't know. I could probably articulate thoughts a little bit better this way, so let's go there. Obviously, Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch started off the whole jam, and that match was amazing. Like, I think it was Becky. I was gonna say it's probably Rhea's best title defense that she's had, and I think it's one of those that she still looks so dominant, but like there was a glimmer that she was gonna lose. Maybe I'm gonna put it in the A tier because it was just an amazing match, man. Like, I don't know. It might bump up to S when I think about other stuff, but man, that was a great match. I think obviously the person who won needed to, or it should have been Becky. Not, it should have been Rhea, no matter what. That's who I wanted to win. I'll also give my slight opinion. I did have some prediction videos, but these are who I wanted to win. Next up, we had the six-pack tag team match, and there were so many amazing spots in this, and I think like every tag team really looked good. Like, they really highlighted that like these are six solid tag teams, and all of them deserve a chance at that. We knew, or at least I knew, I didn't think the Judgment Day would win because I feel like there was going to be a bigger story with all of them either breaking up or the cash in, which we'll be talking about later. Something was going to happen to change up everything, and it did. And we got the tag team split. Me personally, I said I would have liked the New Day to win. I didn't think they would. I don't actually remember who I picked. I think I picked DIY and A-Town Down Under. I gonna have to check my video. I think that's who I picked, or maybe Judgment Day and DIY or something like that. But yeah, A-Town Down Under. I think that's a pretty good, solid heel faction, and it's gonna be perfect for SmackDown. So they got the SmackDown titles, and we're gonna have on the opposite side with Awesome Truth, which will have some really good moments. And it'd probably be out of the two, the tag team, the least amount of time, but it was still great. Overall, that match just has so many great spots. I'm really debating on this. I don't know if this is definitely an S tier match, but A tier for sure. I mean, everything in A tier are still classics. Like, they're rewatches. You gotta, like, when you think about WrestleMania, you gotta go watch this again. It was one of my favorite matches. I'm still gonna put it in the A. Maybe we'll slip it up. It's like, it's so hard to like think about it, and that's my thing. I don't like, where do I put this? Where do I put that? But yeah, it's a little bit harder. Next up, we got Andrade and Rey Mysterio versus Dominic, maybe, or Tom and Nick. You never know. It could have been one of those two. And Santos Escobar. I thought overall the match was great. The one thing I didn't understand, because it ended up being a thing, and we all saw them coming down in ring gear, it's like, why didn't they just make it the whole LWO versus the whole, opposite, like, of just the whole heels? I don't know why they chose to do it that way. It was a little odd because, like, they ended up still kind of getting in there and doing stuff. So I felt like that could have done a little bit different. Rey and Andrade just had some really good chemistry. They did really good stuff out there. The match itself felt like it was a really good, and I loved everything except for the ending. I don't mind. I love Jason Kelsey, and I didn't mind like they got the stuff, but they just built nothing around it. Like, there was just nothing. It was just kind of out of the blue. It was just two random dudes assaulting Dominic Mysterio. So for that, I feel like that, because that really changed the ending of the match. I think I'm gonna have to put it in B tier. I feel like they could have still done that spot and then let the match stay maybe another extra like 4 or 5 minutes. I think that would have been a lot better. But that being basically the ending of the match, just kind of ruined it for me, at least with that type of stuff. But yeah. I still think it was a pretty solid match altogether. Andrade showed up. I think everybody got highlighted pretty well in that. Obviously, I think the person that I think like had the least amount was Rey, but like he's still doing amazing. So the other three, who are the younger, hungrier guys that are going to be getting that push, are definitely, they showed up and had a great fin. And I'm sorry that there's a freaking ad down there. It's just weird. There'd be like a random lady behind me and stuff. I don't know. Can I get rid of this? There we go. It had next finally. Next up is Jimmy versus Jay. This was my match to watch. I wanted to watch this so badly, and it just fell flat, man. I feel like the stuff that they did at the end of the Cody and Roman match was actually better than what they did in their own match. I mean, we knew it was going to be a super kick palooza, but like, that was it. Like, there was just nothing. I would have been great to see like some extra moves. I would have loved like Jay using the crossroads on fucking oh damn it, I don't want to cuss on these on Jimmy and just any of that type of stuff. I felt like we kind of just missed out on those extra things. So I'm gonna have to put this in D. It was my least favorite match by far, like by far. I just don't know why they didn't give them enough stuff to like freedom or whatever they wanted to do. I don't know. Maybe this is what they wanted, but and I think we're gonna get more of these. So we might get this match ran back at Backlash, and I think hopefully they'll be better. But definitely was my disappointing one, even though it was one of my top. I probably had like top 5 matches that I was really wanting, and that was definitely in the top 5 for sure. To watch, and I just care for it as much. Next up is the Damage Control versus Bianca, Naomi, and Jade. Now I called Jade, Bianca, and Naomi winning. I don't know, man. I'm a big Asuka fan. Like, she is my favorite women's wrestler. Like, kind of by far. Like, I really like Rhea Ripley too, but like, Asuka's been my ride or die for years now. Or like ever since I got back to wrestling, and I have a ton of Asuka merch. Like, pretty much my only 2 shirt merches are Asuka. So another disappointing loss at WrestleMania makes it hard on this one. I feel like Damage Control is the faction that they should have had a slight advantage. That, like, of course, I kind of thought no matter what, the other team was going to win, but I felt like they still kind of fell apart, and like the other team had perfect chemistry when the other team didn't, and that doesn't make sense if they're the actual tag team partners, especially with Kairi and Asuka. I think that kind of puts a wrench in it. I don't mind like that they messed up, but it's just like, dude, this is the actual team, and the other team's just flawless. I still wasn't as disappointed with it than the Jimmy and Jay match. I'm gonna put it in C. I just I knew it was gonna be that way, and I just really hoped I was gonna be wrong. And then when I was right, I just was like, okay, well, still not too happy. The match overall, Jade was absolutely amazing. Naomi was absolutely amazing. Bianca was absolutely amazing, and the whole Damage Control was. But out of all these matches, like, obviously we kind of like, you kind of have a feeling that you think is going to win, but then you kind of like are watching it, you can like, well, maybe something's going to be different. But this was like textbook with the pin and everything. I called it from the start to the finish exactly what was going to happen. Unfortunately for Asuka and that team, they just lose again, and she loses at WrestleMania for so many times. And I just also, like, I know they were going to lose, so they didn't have the tag team titles up, but that would have been a little bit of a cool speculation, and also would have been, like, a little bit of, like, who gets them on the other side. Something like that could have been cool, even though I'm glad they didn't, because I want at least Asuka to have something around her race, because she's not going to get a title match probably for a while, because of how stacked the division is. It's not a bad fin on that, but just because it's stacked, it's going to be a while. Next up, we got the kind of the surprise of the night. I kind of really did think Sammy was going to win this. It was 2 camps here, because I thought Gunther might retain all the way to Bash at Berlin, which would have only been a couple months, and like maybe had a bigger match with that. But I feel like he's already on the rise to go to like the next big thing, and that might be the World Heavyweight title, or maybe he goes after the Undisputed title, which we'll get to both because they have new homes. So let's talk about the match. I think the build-up with Sammy was really good, and it kind of had that same feel we had with Chad Gable when Chad Gable ended up failing. So I kind of like that. I kind of felt more invested in wanting Sammy to do it. I feel like they kind of dropped the ball throughout most of the rest of the story between these two. Like, they had some good moments, but that last little bit right before it really kind of pushed it home to kind of make the stakes of this even higher. So I'm glad Sammy won. I think that might also put into a way that the Bloodline could get back into him and try to take out the championship, and maybe have him versus Solo as his next big thing. That's just me personally liking that, we got some extra Bloodline stories now that, whatever happens at the end of this card happens. So let's, but the match itself, I thought it was really good. I think it was a good choice. I think I want to put this in... I'm going to put it... I felt like Gunther was definitely dominant, and then it kind of was like Sammy came back and did it. I'm going to put it an A. I think the story and the flow of the match was perfect to it. So it's going to be A tier for me. Not quite S, but, that's how it goes. But then we get to the night 1 main event, Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes versus The Rock and Roman, which we kind of assumed that we knew what was going to happen. We just didn't know how the outcome was going to affect it. I would have been 100% sold in this match if they just made it no disqualifications. Like with The Rock just threatening the disqualifications, kind of just ruined the match for me because it was like he's just threatening the ref. Like the ref could call us at any time, and then like people are like, "Well, it's been Cody and Seth, fought dirty after that." It's like, well, yeah, you're gonna have to because that's the only way you're gonna win this. I just felt like they showed how stacked the deck against Cody was, and they could have just made it no disqualification, and we wouldn't have not even had to worry about half the stuff. Anyways, I think that definitely made the match feel kind of crappy to me. I thought overall it was pretty good. The Rock looked good. He was definitely gassed. A lot of people were either in the take that he was going to die out there or he was absolutely phenomenal. I'm in between. I think he did an amazing job. He did way better than expected. But man, I feel like he's going to be feeling that for the next 2 weeks. And you cannot tell me otherwise. He was gassed. So I'm going to put it in B. I think it was a really good main event. I feel like just changing that one speculation could have easily bumped it up to the A tier category. Overall, I think there was still just good spots with everybody in there. Got that disappointment, got Seth, into that point where it looked like he was going to be hurt and, limping around for the next match. So I think it set up night 2 very well. So it did exactly what it needed. I just wish they would have changed that. I really would have changed it from an A to a B to an A. It was a big deal. So next up, we got Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre that opened up the show. This match was really good. I really liked the back and forth and everything involved in it. Now, if we include what happens at the end, so as we know, Drew wins the title, talks to CM Punk, or talks crap to CM Punk, and then Damian cashes in on him and gets the championship. I think if you add all of that as one whole part of this match, it's definitely S tier. I mean, obviously only the second ever person to be cashed in on WrestleMania, and I think it was very fitting to really put in that fire for even Drew even harder. But so like Drew did get his roses to at least be able to have that championship again, but in the caveat that he loses it right away to the person who's been waiting with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And it kind of puts in a rivalry between the two and maybe even a triple threat type of thing for a Backlash, depending on where Seth Rollins is on this whole thing, because Seth Rollins could easily be somewhere like where he needs to take a little bit of time for himself. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Street Fight between, I don't know if everybody's calling them the Pride, but I keep seeing that online, but it's the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley versus the Final Testament. I was on the board with this match for the most part. It felt very one-sided. I was cool with Bubba being like the referee. I'm a big Dudley Brothers fan, but or Dudley Boys. Yeah, I say now the wrong name, and that's an even worse. Fake fan. But I don't know. I just felt like by having that speculation and like a lot of the other stuff, kind of just wasn't as fun as it could have been because it felt very one-sided, and like this rivalry kind of was like cut and dry, and they could have been a lot better spots. I'm gonna put it in C. There was a lot of like fumbles and a lot of mistakes here and there, but it was still a really fun match. I enjoyed watching every part of it. I would watch it again. It's just it wasn't my favorite. Next up, we got AJ Styles and LA Knight. It built this rivalry up really well and having like a lot of stuff involved with it. I could possibly see them even going one more round at Backlash if they really needed another match. But this was a pretty definitive match. We got LA Knight to defeat AJ Styles. I think both of them looked amazing out there. AJ Styles' new theme was great. Just everything about the match was just really solid and just had some really nice spots. I just feel like with this match, I felt like it was definitely cooked and it was good. I just think like they needed something to be fighting for, and I feel like this would have been great if LA Knight would have already had the U.S. title or something else. I know that's a little bit nitpicky on it, but I think overall it was like just a great match, and it was great for WrestleMania. Like this is the thing, like this is WrestleMania matches. Like even Jimmy and Jay was still a great match if you look at like some of the premium live events we've had, but like for WrestleMania it was definitely not one of my favorites. But like for everything from B to S, it's just like it was good. It needed to be on the card. It just could have been a little bit better. And I think a lot of people you're allowed to say that. You're allowed to feel that way. I mean, people in the comments might not be, but you never know. But I'm putting it in B. I enjoyed it a lot. I felt a little bit disconnected because there was like no stake in it other than they were just hating each other. And I feel like that would have been like a good opening match for like night one altogether, or like a second match. It was kind of later in the card to be like I wasn't invested in watching it as much. It was just a good solid match, and like I needed a little bit more. Next up, we got the triple threat match between Logan Paul, KO, and Randy Orton. I was really excited for this match. I feel like it definitely delivered, but I was a little bit disappointed because like it was very, very, very scripted. Of being like we knew kind of some of the spots. We knew Logan was going to have the deck stack against him because everybody hates him, and then with I Show Speed in the Prime bottle, that was a good spot. But it's like it felt like all that was kind of stuff that we've seen already. The brass knuckles being a big thing, all that was good. The pop up KO, the what is it? KO's power bomb or pop up power bomb into the RKO was absolutely amazing. That was definitely the highlight of the whole thing. I definitely think they just picked the wrong pin. We kind of knew that Logan Paul would win because, I think he's going to hold it to SummerSlam where he drops it, maybe in front of his home crowd, or at least like to SummerSlam where he beats it in Cleveland where he's from. So I think like that was the big thing. I would have loved the whole thing with, KO being able to bring that back to show Sammy. That would have been cool. Randy was probably the only one that didn't really need it, but it just felt like this match was it was cooked. Like, it was a really good match, but I don't think it needed to be on the card. It was just, like, it was big names to get them on to the card. And I just don't really ever like the triple threat thing because it's always one person knocking out the other person and then somebody sliding in. It's pretty normal. I'm going to put it in B. Still a good match overall, but I definitely wish a little different. Just make it a little bit different. Next up, we got Io and Bayley. This was probably one of my favorite matches of just pure matches. We kind of, at least I kind of thought, we get some thunder in the background. We kind of knew that like Bayley would have a chance to get it, and she was well deserved to finally win in WrestleMania and win the Royal Rumble, and everything was great with that. And I think Bayley did amazing in this match, and Io really showed off a lot too. I think it was definitely an S-tier match. It was just a great match. The story was great, and I think we're not done with this one, to be honest. I think this might be another one that's like a run it back at Backlash to show it off. I mean, which is cool. I think that's kind of like what they used to call Backlash, which was like WrestleMania Backlash, if I'm not mistaken, back in the day. And they would run back some of these matches, and I think that's definitely one that I would like to see again, and I think it was solid. Then we got the main event, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns for the title. The first part of the match, was long with a lot of just the normal spots that they've been doing. So I was down for that. We kind of know with the Bloodline rules that we're gonna get some stuff, and then we got Jimmy coming in, and then we had Jay taking him out. That was a great spot with him spearing him off the edge of the thing. I wanted that in that match. Like, that would have pushed this match up like at least one more point to like see at least, maybe even to B, because that spot was amazing. So we had that. Then we had Solo coming down, stopping Cody from getting the third Crossroads, which was going to be exactly how the story ended last year. But we had John Cena come down, and then the surprise of it all when The Rock comes down that destroys John Cena is the Undertaker stopping him. The Undertaker one, I love the Undertaker, and I really love seeing the Undertaker there. The only thing that would have been like, I really would have preferred Stone Cold over that, because it felt like it would have been like, a rival defeating another rival type of thing. Undertaker has faced The Rock plenty of times too. It just felt like there could have been a better choice, but I will never say no to more Undertaker, because I love Tanker. I love, like all of that era of like, he was one of my favorites of all time during that time. So I'm not gonna say no. I just meant like, I also love Stone Cold, so I would have loved to see Stone Cold also. So that's just, my own feeling on it. When you have to try to nitpick and try to have it just instead of just throwing it up into the mass like S tier thing, Then we finally got the story finished with Cody getting it, and it was well deserved. No matter who you hate or like, I think it's hard to be out there and say that Cody doesn't deserve it, because that's just not correct. It's like the same thing saying like Roman's reign sucked. Like, no, he had a great reign, even if it was longer than what you expected or longer than what you wanted. The reign itself was still really good. So that being said, this match is S tier. It was just the perfect way to cap out 40 and cap off like just entering a new decade, entering a new Renaissance era of everything that we as wrestling fans have now love, and it also marks I've been back watching wrestling solid on a week to week to week to week basis since WrestleMania last year, and I am just absolutely happy that I've came back to this wonderful entertainment. And yeah, that is my predictions for it. I'm gonna try to make some more wrestling content. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Just so I know I do a lot of gaming content, and I'm gonna do some more 2K content. But it's not really always my jam to do these. I know I do tier list quite a bit, so I don't want to. I'm not saying do what you have to do, but it makes me happy to do this type of content and having a little bit of love there. Just even a little like on the video makes me happy and makes me feel motivated to do it, because Backlash is only 4 weeks away, and I would love to do some stuff with more stuff on this stuff. So I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Tell me how you guys like WrestleMania 40 and what you did for it. I just did it with we watched it with my partner and a friend, and our new cat Oreo was there, and he was happy just to be with us watching it too. So yeah, I'm Japan. Bye guys.